Hello everyone, and welcome to a Pokemon fan game called Perilous Heights. Today, we're stepping into the boots of Hiker Henry, a guide who's climbed Mount Ygaros more times than he can count. He knows every tunnel, every crack in the rock, every hidden path, and he's got plenty of stories to tell the tourist who books his hikes. So when a married couple hire him for a simple trip, hoping to revisit old memories with a father, it should just be another routine job, right? I mean, sure, Mount Ygaros isn't exactly safe. You've got the occasional rampaging Pokémon, sudden rockfalls blocking your way, unpredictable weather, and even strange, unmarked tunnel systems that run deep beneath the mountains. But for Henry, that's all part of the job. Or at least, it used to be. Because this time, something feels different, something hidden beneath the surface, something Henry wasn't expecting. So let's see what secrets Mount Ygaros is hiding, and just how perilous the heights really are. Let's get into it. We start every journey as every Pokemon player does when they play something for the first time. Talk to the first thing they can, which is the PC, just seeing if they have any emails. And then we try every single door on the way out, because obviously you want to see if there's anything you need to pick up. There isn't this time around. We then make our way downstairs and talk to our wife Gloria about the day ahead and our job that we've taken in place. After a little wander around the village, just seeing what's around, wasn't really there apart from people to talk to, obviously knew who Henry was. We meet up with our clients, Cecilia, who booked it, Alistair, Cecilia's husband, and Hieronymus, Cecilia's father. Seems to have a bit of a memory issue. We exchange the details with them, what's going to be going on, what to be wary of, and they let us know that Talonflame is there, hopefully, in case anything happens. Let them know that there's the cabin. That will be our first port of call at the base of the mountain, and we'll start our adventure there. Everybody meet up, and we're all good to go. Firstly though, as every good Pokemon trainer does, got to capture a few Pokemon. As you can see on the screen, got Rumble, the Bulldog. He's going to be getting us our first capture, which is Scrapper, the Gligar. Good addition to the team, especially if we can get it evolved. Secondly, we've got Flex on the screen here, who is our mature. Hopefully, I hope trade evolutions are a thing in this game. We'll wait and see. And he's going to be capturing us our Swinub, who we're going to call Snouts. After that little short break of capturing some Pokemon and scaling the first bit of the mountain, we make it to our first cabin, where we all sit around the table, have a conversation about how easy that was for the first part. I mean, it was the first part of the mountain. You can see that in the cabin, and hopefully for the future ones, we get a PC to manage Pokemon that we capture, or item storage, or anything like that. We also have the healing machine down in the bottom right, very useful. Go back and forth, do a bit of grinding, a bit of trading, all sorts and stuff like that. There's firewood put on the fire, not actually a usable feature, but still, it's good to have there. Bit of cosmetic stuff, always nice to see. After doing a quick heal after capturing them Pokemon, we move on into Ygaros Mountain and capture Shaker, our Knackley. As the group continues their climb, Henry suddenly stops. Something feels off. The mountain goes quiet and a metallic roar rings out. Laren appears on a rocky ledge and, without warning, leaps down to block their path. Panic sets in, but Henry doesn't hesitate. Stepping forward, he puts himself between the Pokemon's clients. This is his job, and he's going to handle it. This Laren doesn't know, however, we actually have the best type matchup there is. Flex, doing his bits, always getting the job done for us, as reliable as ever. 3 low sweeps, all it needs when it actually doesn't use Protect, and then we can carry on. Henry then explains to the group that Larons shouldn't really be attacking the group, there must be something deeper going on. But we'll carry on the adventure, even though he is still a little bit worried. As we continue our journey up the mountain, Shake starts evolving at our first evolution of the run, and he evolves into a Knacklestack. The only next bit of non-story progression we actually do is we find a Meditate and we end up capturing it and calling it Trap. As in, big traps, big legs, because that's what Meditate's for, with high jump kick and stuff. You get the joke. After no further issues, we make it to the weather station, where Cecilia verifies with her dad, tries to at least, that this is a place, and the only thing he can recall is the canteen. Shortly after a little bit of a discussion, they ask for a photo just outside for memory's sake, and then Cecilia claims she's ready and mentions Alistair. Then, out of nowhere, Alistair charges, slamming straight into Henry and sending him over the edge. This is where Act 2, the fall, begins. Henry comes to at the bottom, battered but alive, fury kicking in as he swears they won't get away with this. He takes a moment to gather himself, quickly realising his phone didn't survive the fall, as it went further and further. With no way to call for help, he pulls himself together, heads into a nearby cabin, and starts looking for a way back to them. After a little bit of exploration, trying to find his way back up, because, you know, Henry knows the way that he's going, he actually runs into another Leiron that's acting a bit peculiar. It's getting a bit strange now why these things are acting the way they are. But anyways, we deal with them just as we did the last time. Flex, blow sweeps, getting around to protect, all good. And then, second one appears, same thing again. Leiron gets battered by low sweeps, and it's a bit infuriating, can't capture them, but, you know, it is what it is. After finishing off them Leiron, a passageway cleared where we were able to see Cecilia and Alistair bickering over what had just happened. Cecilia doesn't seem too bothered that I've actually, you know, been killed. It was all part of the plan. Just more that Alistair couldn't finish the job and that now he's in this as deep as everybody else is while they're trying to find her dad. After listening to Cecilia and Alistair bicker for a little while and trying to find her dad, we run into another Leiron, and it's getting pretty old now that we can't actually capture these things, but lo and behold, Machoke evolves at level 37, so we now have ourselves a brand spanking new evolution of a Machamp, which just is gobsmacking, to be honest. Shortly after the battle, like all the other Leirons that we've defeated before, this one does a runner. Henry makes a valid point that there seems to be a lot more rumbles and a lot more disturbance in the mountain, so there must be a bigger chamber somewhere that actually stuff's going to be going on. And that's when we find it, the big mama, Agron, bashing away at a boulder, trying to get its way through. God knows why, but this is another battle that I think, now that we have a Machamp, should be just as easy. I mean, we take a few hits, but it's nothing compared to what Machamp can do. We continue on through where Agron finally smashed through that boulder for us after defeating him, and then we make our way onto Act 3 further. This is where I, as the player, actually started getting a little bit worried for Henry. Why is he seeing little girls who he has no idea who they are? He thinks he does, but I don't really think he does actually know who they are. Anyways, after the little creepy encounter, reminds me of some horror games back in the day. We carry on going, make our way to the next cabin, and get some long needed rest. I feel I have a right to be worried about Henry though. As we progress, he starts hearing himself speaking about how the mines were shut down and a temporary railway put in for the weather station. Then he sees himself talking to a couple of customers, explaining all this to them about what this certain bit of the mine was used for. Henry can't be right in the head at the moment. God knows what's happened to him. We'll act as if that didn't happen though, because, you know, if you start believing stuff like that's happening to you, it gets even worse and worse and worse. As we continue, we get onto a lush green meadow that isn't touched by snow, which is a bit weird because everywhere else is being touched by snow. After a little bit of exploration, we try and advance, and that creepy little girl from before pops out of nowhere going, hee hee hee, because, you know, that's not creepy and can't figure out it's actually Carly, our daughter, even though we did talk to Carly back in the village, and she was not that diddy, so God knows what's happened to her. We then find one of the trainers who looks just like what imaginary Henry was taking down on the tour. And we go to battle him. I was not ready for a Mr. Mine. I thought, oh, it's talking to rock Pokemon, steel Pokemon, be giddy. Like Pokemon you find in mountains. No, not them. After we do finally take him down, after a long-winded battle, it tells us not to trust her, which just is horrifying. I can't think of anything worse than being told that. After a bit more exploration around this area, we find another trainer that looks exactly like what imaginary Henry was taking around. And, funnily enough, haven't learned my lesson. Underprepared for another sidekick type. See, I wish that I just had a little bit of a brain cell to say, maybe you should prepare a bit more. But I didn't. Anyways, we do end up taking care of her, and as creepily as the first person said, do you still trust what your eyes see? I don't trust what my hands or eyes do at all anymore after this. If that wasn't creepy enough, we actually catch up to our daughter, Carly. She is just menacing all in herself, and she says, hey, catch me, daddy, catch me. No thanks, I'd rather not. We try to run around because we're all blocked off by some trees, and we find another one of her that just laughs and then does a runner, and then we find a third one that says, yes, daddy, let's have more fun. No, I just want to go home now. I'm sick of this job. Don't pay me. I don't really care. After some grinding as well, trying to figure out what I was actually going to do, Snout evolved into a Perilous Heights. At least we do have some good news to go with this horrifying experience. After finally figuring out what I had to do, which was just move forward, but don't tell anybody, we catch up to young Carly. But then, all of a sudden, older Carly appears as well. And now it's time for a double round. Which, I'll be honest with you, as honest as I can be, this did take more than one go. I just was not prepared, didn't even know what was going on. Again, no counters for the Pokemon at all. I mean, I did have Meditate for Sneasel and Sneasler, but he was nowhere near strong enough. And stupidly on Scrapper, I kept the Razor Fang on it, thinking, oh yeah, it'll evolve eventually. And I kept trying to use Acrobatics, and I just don't know why I leave myself so open to getting absolutely trounced by Pokemon. I should be able to cover, absolutely be able to cover, but just can't because Cane Brain is stupid as fuck. But on a good note, Shaker evolved into Garganical, and honestly, I couldn't be happier because it has carried me through a lot of this. After beating my, let's say, not so threatening opponents, they drop a charming little line for me. There is no way out, only further in. Delightful. So naturally, we push forward straight into an unmarked village. Something about it feels off. It looks almost exactly like my hometown, just without the snow. Not wasting a second, we rush home, only find everything completely normal. Carly's there asking to play catch, Gloria's inside telling me there's food ready and a fresh cup of coffee waiting. So, we take a drink. Why not? And that's when everything changes. Act 4 begins. Awaken. We look to have woken up in what looks like a laboratory kind of setting. Loads of computers, equipment, some diaries talking about specimens and staff from Professor Dr. Lazar. After a bit of running around, we catch up with Alistair, looking for something in the cabinets. So, we'll dispatch of him as quickly as we can. This is why I wanted to do a hiker run. I knew we were going to run into opponents like this. Bird Pokemon, Fire Pokemon, whatever you want to throw at me, Shaker is going to deal with you. And there's only one move for it, and that is Salt Cure. So we quickly take care of his Bombardier, and then shortly after we quickly take care of his Flamigo, even though Flex has to help out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, Talonflame comes out. And Talonflame looks a little bit worse for wear, if you ask me. Especially with it having what looks like a grass ability, and then even Leaf Blade, and them spores coming out of it. No thanks, I don't want any of what you're selling. After wandering around some more after beating Alistair, we find some more notebooks from Professor Lazar, saying that it's now in the air and we need to take more precautions and we need to start using some more medication. So basically something in this laboratory isn't going great for whoever's knocking around. Dr. Lazar does mention in his notes that the specimen, meaning whatever was growing out of like Talonflame, takes nutrients out of the host, and if that host is left with no nutrients, the specimen will expire. He also talks about some workers being affected during a routine inspection of the cave, so they quarantined it off. Some nutrients, including one called glenoxidil, are able to stabilise, but it's only a temporary fix until they can figure out what to actually do. As we move on, we find Cecilia in the reception room. Here she tells us that she's working with or for the Nexus Corporation in this secret lab. She's saying that she knows what's going on with us with our hallucinations and that she knows how to sort it because she's got a briefcase of medicine. But then she goes and takes you on the elevator out, so we're kind of stuck. Oh well. So after Cecilia goes into the elevator, leaves us down here to whatever demise we're going to be up to, we have a rummage around and we find ourselves a special access key which hopefully can help us get out of here. We actually figure out that it gets us down into the cave where all these specimens have been getting taken from, and we run into an Aggron, but not just any Aggron, what looks like an infected Aggron, who's the female Aggron that we met previously was trying to find, which is why she was going a bit berserk. So we do what we do best, we take care of business. And after the male Aggron is beaten and it takes itself back into the busted up door, the top right frame, and the female one runs after to try and get back to her man. And all of a sudden, Cecilia's dad just hops up and starts bopping around like some man. I wonder what's happened to him then. As a man that cares for his mountain and cares for the Pokemon that inhabit his mountain, Henry follows on through, and we find a lush green area covered in some green haze, which I imagine is some of the stuff that's infected people and Pokemon. And then we get to have a conversation with ourselves. But it's not really ourselves, it's the spores inside us, which we find out is from a parasect, and the parasite line tells us we need to get this sorted. After trying to go and actually use the elevator to catch up to Cecilia and make sure nothing gets out of the lab, we are interrupted by the granddad himself, who miraculously has Pokemon that are mushroom based, which obviously makes sense. So we quickly take care of him. And when I say take care of him, I mean literally, because he is now a parasect, the amount of spores in him. So that's always fun. After beating Hieronymus, he starts babbling. Strawberry tiramisu with pickled zucchini and lots of garlic. Yeah, whatever floats your boat, man. Anyway, we go up the elevator and we catch up to Cecilia as she's trying to do something, but I'm not quite sure what. And that's when it clicks. She's actually trying to cut the elevator to keep everything down there and make sure no one knows what's going on. She goes on a big spiel about how she's trying to sort everything out and keep the serum for herself, get it back to the corporation, make sure, you know, that anyone that is infected or will be infected shouldn't be infected, to replicate the serum, yada yada yada, and then it just gets into a fight. Of course it does. You see, the one good thing about doing this hiker-ish kind of team is that the last few battles, apart from Cecilia's dad, although she was kind of bug, but also not bug, it was like more grass, but again, like, it wasn't too bad, is that they just wall most things, especially Cecilia's team, apart from Cerulege, that didn't go all so well, but it still worked. And to top it all off even more, we had an evolution, another one, which kind of seems pointless now because it feels like it's getting towards the end, in Trap, becoming a Medicham. After that, Cecilia seems to be quite easy giving of just giving me the serum after winning the battle, after she searches for her car keys. And that's when Agron comes in, the female one that we've encountered a few times now, and she just absolutely clatters Cecilia down the open elevator shaft, which she's just cut the cable for, so it's kind of her own fault. As a thank you to Agron for saving us once again, we also inject her with the serum. After injecting myself and Agron with the serum, we make our way out of the weather station, or what was the weather station, reading a sign, obviously danger, we knew that already, and we make our way back down home. We meet up with Cecilia, we meet up with Gloria, and they tell us that it's time for a long rest and a wash. Then, fades back. Henry is now on his laptop, presumably talking to someone, but there's also another Henry, which is Parasect, telling me not to do what I'm talking about with these customers, which is to take them up to the weather station, or at least the mountain. Let's hope this all doesn't happen again. And that's Pokemon Perilous Heights. It was a nice little fun game, actually, just to not worry about Pokemon all that much, actually have a story to it. First proper fan game I've played that isn't just another Pokemon game, and actually story based. Took me about 2.5 hours. Probably takes someone that's better at Pokemon than me probably an hour and a half or something. I'll just let the credits roll while it goes. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one when I get round to it. Peace.